always just hear Sherry. Good evening. I will now call the Camp Hill Borough Council meeting to order, and if everyone would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Sarah, could you please call the roll?
Thomas Fink. Here. Michelle Forbes.
Here.
Rich Forsman. Here. Tim Jackson. Here. Luisa Lasova. Here. Kevin Mock. Here. Tia Wolf. Here. Alexandra Jackson.
Here. Okay, thank you very much. So at this time, we'll open our first period of public comment. If you would please come to the podium, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. I'm asking Lee to time them just to make sure we stick to schedule. Thanks.
Hey, good evening. I'll start us off. Sherry Bowman, 498 North 25th Street, obviously Camp Hill. Just a couple comments. Just want to say good evening to you guys, and I really want to just continue to send thanks to our council, the mayor, police chief, and everyone involved for thoughtfully approaching this issue regarding our interaction with federal agencies. At its heart, this conversation is about trust. Residents should feel safe reporting crimes, cooperating with the police, and participating in civic life, while our officers deserve clear legal guidance that protects both them and the constitutional rights of the people they serve. Public safety and civil liberties are not competing values. They are strongest when they exist together. I appreciate this resolution that you guys have been working on, the way it's affirming those principles, and do also encourage you guys to continue to collaborate on that ordinance that you're working on so that Camp Hill remains a community guided by the rule of law, transparency, and respect for every person. Thanks so much, guys.
Good evening, Council. I'm Charlie Sowell from 915 Country Club Road. Let's be clear about what's happening here with the immigration ordinance. This ordinance is being presented as thoughtful policy, but in reality, it's a municipal mandate that forces borough employees to make complex legal decisions that they are not trained to make, using standards that are not clearly defined under a system that does not yet exist. That alone is a serious problem. But there's a second issue, and it goes directly to process, transparency, and governance. Despite my repeated public requests, this council and its committees have not engaged directly with ICE or other federal officials to understand how this ordinance will operate in the real world. That matters because you are legislating in a space where federal authority, federal processes, and federal consequences are central to every decision being regulated here. And yet you've not brought those stakeholders into the discussion. That's not due diligence. That's not informed policymaking. And frankly, it reflects a one-sided development process that increases the likelihood of unintended consequences. Now back to the ordinance itself. You're asking not just police, but clerks, IT staff, and contractors to interpret immigration law, distinguish between federal legal instruments, and make real-time decisions about detention and cooperation, all without defined procedures, training, or funding. Where's the implementation plan? Where is the training framework? Where is the cost allocation? It's not here yet, and the language makes it worse. You require employees to accept foreign identification, but prohibit higher scrutiny. That creates a built-in conflict. Do they accept potential fraud, or do they risk violation? That's not guidance, that's exposure. You prohibit support or assistance to federal agencies, but don't define it, and that guarantees inconsistent enforcement. The ordinance is being advanced without full stakeholder engagement, without a defined implementation structure, and without the operational backbone required to carry it out safely. With all of that said, I do really appreciate Councilman Fink's leadership on the issue. I know you're walking a delicate line on balancing interests, And I just want to thank the council for their consideration and for their continued work.
Hi, Liz Riley, 117 South 17th Street. Just another way of looking at whether or not our police will be faced with tricky decisions at the last minute, as was just pointed out. I have attended the meetings during the week, sometimes at 8:15 in the morning, and there's been a lot of discussion about how actually it's much easier if you see a report come up in your police car and it is not a criminal referral. That makes it really easy. You do your job as a Camp Hill police officer, and if it's not a criminal incident that is requiring you to detain a person, you don't need to detain them. So I just think it's actually the guardrails that are making it easier for our police officers. Granted, there maybe does need to be some training associated with this, but I really appreciate the thoughtfulness and the input that's been provided so that we can make the best decision, and afterwards people will accept, hopefully, the decision that's made by our council. Thank you.
Kathy Vollmer, 2935 Lincoln Street. My husband and I moved to the borough more than 53 years ago. We came for the schools. Camp Hill schools are known far and wide for their excellence. Our children did marvelous. The schools were great, but so were the neighborhoods. So was the whole village of Camp Hill. And they made lifelong friends. But Camp Hill is more than the schools. It now has a vibrant downtown business, small business association. It's working. For small families, they have neighborhood parks, plus the schools. There are the middle-agers and us senior citizens who we can walk without feeling like we're going to be run over by traffic. Bottom line is, Camp Hill is a very special community, and these two documents help to maintain that. I urge you to vote yes for both of them. Thank you.
Phil Vollmer, 2935 Lincoln Street. I'm the other half. I've read through these ordinances or the ordinance and the resolution many times. And what I would urge you is to vote yes on these ordinances as they stand. I don't think there's any reason not to vote on them. I think they're what we need. So I urge you to vote yes without any amendments as they stand. Thank you.
David Margulis, 1714 Lincoln Drive. Good evening. First of all, I wanted to say that I appreciate the respectful way that the Borough Council, the Mayor, and the Police Chief have proceeded with many and difficult discussions about the proposed ordinance providing guidance to borough employees and police officers regarding federal immigration law enforcement. Mindful that there have been concerns expressed by Mayor Simpson and Chief Magnuson, I was reassured at the May 15th committee meeting about two issues. First, the mayor's comments indicated that nothing in the proposed ordinance would prevent Camp Hill Police from detaining any individual identified in the law enforcement database as a dangerous criminal who should be detained to protect the public. If I'm incorrect on that, please indicate later. Second, while past practice has been for Camp Hill Police to act on all detainer requests, the mayor did not identify any obligation that would require a local police officer to act on an ICE detainer request. Tonight, I hope that during your agenda item discussion, you could clarify why the use of the terms immigration official was used under the judicial warrant definition and civil immigration enforcement in section 4, number 2, while similar specificity about immigration enforcement was not used in the third ordinance, whereas the civil detainer request definition and section 4, number 1. Regarding the comments that you heard earlier, I've read a number of ordinances, and I did not find this as being particularly vague or unusual in terms of providing guidance to one of your departments. However, if there are specifics on that you should look at, that would certainly be welcome on my part. The other issue about inviting stakeholders is that I think the Borough Council has been more open in a very extended process, so pretty much in public about what we're doing. So I think that any stakeholder who felt that there was a real issue here would have had ample opportunity to have contacted the borough. Thank you.
If there are no further comments, thank you all for speaking up and letting us know what you're thinking. I have no announcements, so could we move to the manager's report? Sarah?
Good evening. Under our personnel category, I have the unfortunate distinction of announcing that our longtime recreation director, Audrey Logar, has decided to retire. We will have lots more to say about Audrey during her remaining months with the borough. In the meantime, please help to promote our need to fill this vital position. The position description and instructions for applying are available on the borough website. I would like to thank the energetic volunteers of our Bee City Committee who have expanded the pollinator garden right outside these doors to include some surrounding beds. In addition, they replanted the 4 planters in front of the borough building. All the plantings look beautiful and provide a positive image to visitors to Borough Hall. The committee has also increased their social media presence and will be participating in downtown Camp Hill's plein air event on Saturday. And they submitted their 3rd annual report to the Xerxes Society in May. I attended the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs Conference with Kevin in Hershey on June 2nd. The borough's Seabrook Park Stream Bank Restoration and Trail Project was the feature of a presentation by HRG, including Mike, called How to Maximize Impact and Attract Funding by Tying Projects to Broader Planning Goals, which sounds boring, but it was fantastic. I thought it was terrific. HRG's Lauren Zumbrun spoke about the Seabrook Park project as one of the greatest projects of her career, noting how effectively the borough combined funds from various sources and addressed both recreation and stormwater needs. And in the area of workplace safety, on Monday, Lester Landman, Public Works Director, and I, along with Lieutenant Todd Hare from the Police Department, participated in a risk control site survey by our workers' compensation insurance provider, and they brought their white gloves. We performed well, and we also have received an award. We didn't receive an award from the site survey, but they have noted the borough's participation as a 20-year member of the Susquehanna Municipal Trust Insurance Trust. And that's all I have.
It is a lot, and it's all lovely news. Thank you, Sarah. Mark, if we could have the mayor's report, please?
Sure, thank you. Police Department report for the month of May, our officers handled 1,250 calls for service, brings the year-to-date call total to 5,093. This past weekend, 3 of our officers were called upon to provide mutual aid to an officer-involved shooting in Upper Allen Township. Our officers responded, and they were back up, and they were not involved in any use of force on that call. Fire department, for May, we responded to 34 calls. We spent 68 man-hours. We recently completed our basic first aid refresher training. Our annual hose testing was just completed. We had several sections of hose fail that we got to replace. We have ordered that. And we have a chicken barbecue coming up this coming Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. One other thing under police, e-scooters are still illegal in PA. So, and I think the use has picked up here recently. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mark. Next, we have the engineer's report with Mike Hess.
Thank you. Several items to report on this month. The first one is the 2025/26 curb ramp improvement project. Construction is progressing well, and the contractor did their final concrete pour, I believe, yesterday. So now they're on to kind of cleanup activities, patching the pavement along the curb lines, restoring lawn and landscaping. But we think they'll be done by the end of June. In association with that project, I've said for several months, and you're probably tired of me saying it, but we were able to combine two projects under one construction contract. That means that HRG has less work to do. We don't have to bid a second project, so we're asking for a change order to our contract to reduce our fee by $13,600 because we don't have to do some of the work. The contractor has submitted an application for payment, their first one, in the amount of $28,476.52, which we have reviewed and looks to us to be in order, so we're asking for approval of that pay application for H&P Construction, Inc. this evening. Moving on from the curb ramps, we have two upcoming pedestrian improvement projects for which we were awarded grants through Commonwealth Financing Authority. The first one is the Lennox Street Walkway, which you all know is an important route to school. And does not have a sidewalk. At the completion of this project, it will. We secured some funding to install sidewalk on the north side of the road, which is the less expensive of the two sides because a good portion of that's already has sidewalk along the Bridge Club. Public Works Committee has looked at a few different scenarios and alternatives for that, but ultimately kind of returned to that as mainly for cost reasons. And we'll continue to look at other options for the other side, I think, in coming years. We have a request for our services for that project in the amount of $129,000 for survey, design, construction bidding, and construction observation that we're requesting approval of tonight. We also received a grant to complete the pedestrian connection along Cumberland Boulevard in the area of 26th Street. We got some of that work done with a prior grant, but kind of left a dead end. We want to at least continue it to the next block and tie it back in. And CFA agreed with us and awarded us a grant. So in order to move that ahead, we have submitted a proposal to do, again, survey, design, in this case permitting because it's a PennDOT road, bidding, construction admin, and construction inspection. That one is in the amount of $61,750 we would request approval of tonight. If approved, one of the first steps we want to take is to ask the funding agency if we can combine those two projects. It went so well with the curb ramps that we'd like to do it again. And we think we have a good chance of success because they're both sidewalk work, so it's the same type of contractor, they're both the same funding stream, et cetera. So if that happens, if the funding agency agrees with us, we would be back in a month or two with a similar request to reduce our fee like we just did earlier a few minutes ago with the 25-26 curb ramp project. That's everything I have. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Okay, next is the consent agenda. Could I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? Rich moves. Do I have a second? Second. All right, Tom seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, any opposed? Motion carries. And we will now proceed with our reports of commissions and liaisons. We start with Public Safety. Tim? Yep. That's all you.
So the meeting was held on Thursday, May 28th at 4:30. And the first topic of note was with regard to Country Club Road and the continuing speed issue that we're continuing to see. We actually did compile the data. The issue is, as far as the last meeting, that the data cannot be downloaded due to some equipment malfunction. It is relatively old for what the machine actually does, so there will be likely a request come budget time for us to procure a new piece of equipment. In the meantime, we look forward to working to get the data that we don't have current access to at this time. I'm looking at Chief to see if there's an update. Okay, all right.
You got it.
In terms of the fire department, Mayor Simpson went through the annual hose testing. Additionally, there is some annual apparatus testing that will occur over the next few months. And then, as a seasonal reminder, anyone who is looking to burn wood, please do so with clean wood. Patio and yard wood burning needs to be located at least 50 feet from the nearest structure on neighboring properties. And then as we approach July 4th, also a safety reminder that private fireworks are prohibited on borough property and within 50 feet of any structure as well. In terms of new business, there was a traffic flow concern at 32nd and Market, just with vehicles turning on red lights, 32nd and Chestnut, Trindle, Market and 32nd, and then 21st and Cumberland Boulevard, in addition to Market and 21st. So Chief has agreed to look into increased enforcement in these areas. And then lastly, Public Works has requested that the committee look into working with the police department in terms of parking enforcement around the Holmes area. There is that crosswalk there, so we're considering potential signage for folks to understand where they can park, so that visibility for pedestrians is there. So we're taking a look at some options, which, if the committee agrees, there would be some local no parking ordinances that we would submit to planning and zoning. That's my report. Thank you.
I guess a question. So I've noticed along pretty much the entire stretch of Market Street, and this is for the police chief, people have parked in, I guess presumably illegally, in the handicap parking spot, especially like in front of Conti Wealth and other areas along. So what is the process for enforcing parking regulations on Market Street, including like parking on top of pedestrian crosswalks and
Right.
those sorts of things?
I'll answer the crosswalk parking first. As Tim pointed out, we need some type of posting and possible ordinance to do actual enforcement in that stretch right before the mid-block crosswalk. The intersection stop signs, we can enforce them as is. There's no additional signage or curb painting needed for that. I think the other question had to do with handicap parking violations. If it's posted handicap, we can issue parking tickets there as is. There's no other additional signage or anything that needs to.
Somebody to call it in.
We would prefer to have somebody call it in, because that might be something that just is not being paid attention to as officers drive by, but it's not required to receive a complaint. If we observe it, we can ticket it.
Yeah, I think the thing that I've noticed, probably the bigger issue, is that there are signs posted, and we've gotten away from painting their curbs for whatever reason, costs. But it's also not so PennDOT regulation, you have to have a sign, but you don't have to paint the curb.
Correct.
But they say it's advisable that you should paint the curb if
it's,
you can, but it's not regulatory. So I
you-
think now, people don't really pay attention to the sign, because they're so used to seeing the curbs, like they see yellow or blue
Right.
curbs. And
I don't know if that's something that, whether Public Safety or Public Works wants to consider that. I know there are many fewer handicap spaces than there are stop signs and crosswalks where yellow curb painting used to take place all over town. Perhaps it's more feasible just for handicap, I don't know. And I think they were painted blue.
Right. So as a reminder, 20 feet from a crosswalk at
Yes.
the intersection?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Were there any other questions? Yeah, but I meant for Tim before we move on. Thanks, Tim. Louisa, Public Works.
Yeah, we did talk, okay, we met on May 21st. We did talk about the mid-block crossing near homes, and we talked about a variety of options and decided that any kind of physical improvements will be combined with future restriping work, so we can save on mobilization costs. So we are working on it, but it might take a while, and at the next Public Works Committee, we can talk about if we want to if we want to install interim signage so we can have parking enforcement. We also talked about potential pedestrian crossing over the bypass at Lincoln and Logan Streets. We did do traffic counts in 2024, and we might have the opportunity to have PennDOT's contractor Pennoni to help us gather more information and find out whether that crossing is feasible or not. So that's something we are working on. Mike already went over all our action items. This 2026 street paving, the contract has been awarded to Pensy Supply, and we are currently waiting for UGI and PA American Water to finish their work in the area before we can start with the paving. Also, we talked about one of PennDOT's projects that they have on their list on North 21st Street and Center Street. So most of their project is in East Pennsboro, but the portion that would affect us is they are proposing a sidewalk on the north side of Cumberland Boulevard from 21st Street leading to the 27th Street underpass. And that's all I have for Public Works. Questions?
Any questions for Louisa? Thank you very much. Next, Kevin. Sorry. Next is Kevin with Community and Business Relations.
Thanks. So we had a couple of public comments that I want to highlight. The first was from the Camp Hill Historical Society, and they had requested to hang banners to honor veterans. And their proposal was to hang the banners on light posts that are owned by PP&L. And PP&L has their own regulations for hanging banners. But the request was more about hanging banners and council approving them. And I guess it gets to the larger issue of do we even want to have banners in downtown, and what the aesthetics of those are, and our relationship with the Downtown Camp Hill Association, and how they want the downtown to appear also. So they made their presentation to the committee. We had corresponded a couple times via email. I had requested a proposal from them and haven't heard back. So at this point, I'm not sure where that stands, but most likely would not be part of the next committee meeting. So the next comment was from Maggie Lloyd on behalf of Birdtown Committee. And Birdtown said that they have options for businesses that have large windows. They have specific window treatments to prevent bird strikes. So businesses, any building that has a large window, it attracts birds because they see the reflection, they fly into the windows, and it will kill them, most likely. And so there are options out there. So if any business is interested, contact the Birdtown Committee. One of the things, and this is for Tia, that Birdtown is looking at is the library, because the library has a lot of big windows, and I have personally seen dead birds around that building. Now that the library has gone through their capital campaign raising funds to improve the library, potentially if they could look at, coordinate with the Birdtown Committee to help improve preventing bird strikes at the library. And if you actually do see any dead birds, you can always reach out to the PA Appalachian Audubon Bird Collision Project and report those. All right. So moving on to the downtown coordinators report, Beth is very active with still promoting the Main Street designation, and she's continuing doing training with the Pennsylvania Downtown Center. Before council, you will see that we have for consideration the renewal of our memorandum of understanding with the Downtown Camp Hill Association. One of the other things that we talked about is a tax benefit district for an area that is to be designated. So it's the one that we're looking at is ALERTA, Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistant Act. And what CBR proposed is that it would be for the downtown zoning district, specifically between 25th and 19th Street, and one block off of Market Street, which is the equivalent of the zoning district. What we're requesting is to send it both to admin and finance for reviewing the financial structure of it, and then also to planning and zoning to work out the zoning ordinance that would go along with that. So if you can put that on your agendas for next month. We've Midtown, the mid-block crossing at Holmes Daisy Age we've talked about already. There's not really much discussion about that since it's already with Public Works. We also got a proposal from an organization called ICMA TV. I am not sure what ICMA stands for. I looked it up on their website and I could not find it anywhere. So it's an unidentified acronym.
Well, International City Managers Association.
Why don't they have that on their website?
I will let them know.
I dug through that website. I could not find it. Thank you.
Need to know.
So they came forward with a proposal to do a promotional video for the borough. They apparently do a lot of these for a lot of different boroughs. However, it is a cost to the borough of $26,000, correct? Which we do not have in our budget this year. CBR requested that the admin and finance committee look at that as part of the 2027 budget, if we even want it. So, the comprehensive plan, Sarah, do you want to talk about the comprehensive plan since it's your
We finally got the grant, so I've been talking about this $25,000 state grant for years, I think. It was held up because of the state budget delays, and then they were reviewing the comprehensive plan grants. So we finally got it. So our budget for that project is a total of $50,000. It's $25,000 from the state, $25,000 that's been budgeted for the borough. Our next step is working on the request for proposals, which we had already started working on. We've been getting comments. I'm going to share that with our county planners so that they can give us feedback before we go out and request proposals from planning companies that would be able to provide us with that project service.
So, and I had been sitting on providing comments to the RFP. Louise and I have finally gotten around to that. I sent it to both Tim and Michelle on the CBR committee, and It should be in your inbox as well, Sarah. So we'll talk about it at our next CBER meeting next Tuesday. And then upcoming events, we have Plan Air this Thursday, this Saturday. So if you're in town, please show up. Thanks.
Any questions for Kevin?
A comment. So about the bird strikes, so this is actually a requirement in some foreign countries to have raptor stickers if you have a window of a certain size. And I did suggest it to planning and zoning, planning and zoning said, let's do education first.
That is a good point, and there are many municipalities that do have ordinances for buildings that have certain size windows to have window collision.
But
bird
I
collision.
agree that let's do education first, but eventually it would be nice to have an ordinance.
Well, there are stages. Education, we could do a resolution, see what happens, and maybe move to ordinance. I don't rule that out. I think it's heavy-handed to start with that.
Yeah,
Well, the first step
I love
is,
birds.
as Maggie has pointed out, there's free money out there to get stickers to put on windows. That's the first step, is like encourage people to do this to help prevent bird strikes.
And we don't want to be dead bird town, right?
No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay. Let's move on.
Kevin, did you want to say anything about the memorandum of understanding with DCHA, or did you already talk about that? We talked about it. Is everybody comfortable
He
with it?
mentioned he's
Okay.
gonna,
Okay. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
there's
make
not,
sure.
what do you want me to say? I mean,
You don't
there's
need
not
to
really
say-
much.
no, you don't need to.
There's not much
Okay.
to say about it. It's the same
Same.
MOU. It's just been modified slightly. We took out one of the appendices that deals with the downtown. So the downtown coordinator's job description was in the MOU. We removed that because it's actually part of the admin and finance process. So otherwise, and then just shuffled.
Are we extending for a year or for 6 months?
Yeah.
Sorry, we are going to extend it for a year. I know we had talked about extending it for 6 months or doing month to month, and we're going to do it for a year and then talk about over that year what we're going to do in the future. So.
But we did also add the option where if both parties agree, they have, like, you can give 30 days notice, and then we can go, hey, let's change this, and then we'll talk, and then we can do it within 30 days. It doesn't have to wait for the annual
Correct.
whatever. Do you think we hammered it all out?
Good.
All right. Thank you. Tia. Parks and Rec with Tia.
Rightio. Good evening, neighbors. The Parks and Recreation Committee met on June 1st at 1 p.m. There's nothing more satisfying than the first of the month being on a Monday. Items for your consideration this evening. We have a request from Greg Coons to plant a commemorative tree in Willow Park in honor of his mother, Barbara. There is space available for an additional tree there. It was her favorite park. It's for her birthday. It's a really lovely birthday gift. We also have a request from Aaron Lentz to plant a commemorative tree in Siebert Park in honor of boys and girls head tennis coach Greg Herb. Space is available near the tennis courts to be able to plant a tree there. Wouldn't be a Parks and Rec report without a sign request, and we do have a request to place signs in borough parks promoting the annual cornhole tournament and block party for the Lion Foundation. That will be on Saturday, June 20th. We also have a couple of community special event requests. So one is from the Camp Hill Soccer Club. They're looking to host a World Cup watch party at Fiala Field on Friday, June 12th. That would begin at 9 p.m. so that the soccer folks can watch the U.S. team participate and hopefully win. We cross our fingers. That's debatable if it's looking good. The event is intended to kind of bring together members of the local soccer community, though residents who happen upon the event would be welcome to join. The estimated attendance is about 30 to 40 people as of right now. The club will be responsible for overseeing event setup and cleanup. The organizers have communicated with neighboring residents regarding potential noise concerns. They've got their buy-in. Because this is so tight of a turnaround, we wanted to make sure that all this kind of stuff happened up front. So in the event of rain, the Borough Community Room has already been reserved as a backup location. We also have a request from the Lion Foundation to host their annual Trick or Trot 5K and Monster Dash 1 Mile Fun Run. This would be on Halloween starting at 8:30 a.m. The request tonight is to approve like the event and the date, with the expectation that as they kind of go through the planning process, they will need to submit stuff to additional committees like Public Works, Public Safety potentially, depending on what operational needs they have, whether that's barricades, traffic management, reflective vests, etc. Some program updates and event updates. We had our Memorial Day parade on Memorial Day. Despite the rainy weather, the event was well attended and well received by the community. I heard we were the only municipality in the county that had their parade. Everybody else canceled. So that was really nice that we were able to do that. We're really grateful to be able to gather to honor the servicemen and women who gave their lives in service to our country, as well as the families who have been impacted by that. We also want to thank everyone who participated and sponsors who helped make the event possible, including Powerhouse Communications, Inc., Teamsters Local 776, Mid-Penn Bank, Orrstown Bank, Southern Steer of Camp Hill, West Shore Martial Arts, Penn Waste, Associated Products, and Blooms by Vickery. Pool news. The pool is open every day now, starting June 6th. Members are reminded to please bring their pool passes for entry. Additionally, swimming lessons will begin on June 15th. Registration is still available online. There is still availability in many of our summer camp programs, the day camp excluded from that. A full list of programs and registration information can also be found on the borough website. And then box lunch review begins this Friday, June 12th. Every other Friday kind of throughout the summer, community members are invited to join us at Willow Park from 11:30 to 1 p.m. for lunch and live music. And then we talked about this at the last meeting, but the AED community event will be taking place on July 10th at 5:30 at Fiala Field. This is an event where we will have folks be able to come out and learn about the AED machine, how it works, and how it can help save lives in case of an emergency. The committee will meet again on July 6th at 1 o'clock.
Any questions for Tia? Okay, thank you very much, and we will move to Tom, Planning and
Okay,
Zoning.
the fun part.
Went out of order.
You will note in your packet that Colton has provided a monthly report on code enforcement. In June, he responded to 159 calls and complaints, sent 352 emails, and issued 68 building, zoning, dumpster, stormwater, shade tree, burning, and sign permits. The Planning and Zoning Committee then had another long meeting, May 15th. I'll try to do as quick of a report as I can. We had a good deal of public comment in that meeting, both pro and con the proposed ordinance and resolution. Comments encouraging looking on both sides, getting guardrails up for our local police and immigration-related activities. At some level, I'm kind of enjoying this. It's like I'm back in graduate school. And I think part of it is because of the way this is being conducted. And we have smart people on both sides. We have a smart police force. And so we've really been able to talk on both sides of issues. And we're moving forward, and we'll see where we end up. In the meeting, we again discussed, back to the content of the meeting, we discussed the issue of data centers and advice that we've had to develop an ordinance specifying where data centers can go. As I said before, if there's no ordinance, they can go anywhere they want. We kick this around and we turn things over to our good solicitor, who's going to be preparing something that would specify a location and restrictions that would make sense to protect our community. We know what can happen in terms of noise, excessive water usage, electricity, et cetera. So we may get to that at our next meeting. We supported 2 stormwater O&M maintenance agreements, which we will vote to approve later, and are offering for consideration for advertisement an on-lot sewage system maintenance program for properties in the borough. All that is in your packet. And finally, we continued our discussion of the developing a resolution and ordinance concerning our boroughs and our police's relationship with federal immigration agencies, including ICE. And as I will do in the meeting, I made a statement providing a rationale for these measures. The mayor, who was invited, provided a perspective which he shares with the chief concerning issues that arise if we preclude our police from contacting ICE in the event of what typically appears to be a minor violation, and of course reporting that is not legally binding at this point. But if a request pops up for notification to ICE in the process of for example, a traffic stop, what should our police do? We clarified that we don't want them to cooperate, which we don't think is interference. It's just letting federal immigration do what they do, we do what we do. Now, here's why we don't want cooperation. ICE has an unfortunate and disturbing history in some cases of imprisoning legal residents and even citizens, leading to lawsuits that can and have made their way down to local municipalities. ICE has carried out illegal deportations. ICE has violated reasonable due process principles. ICE has violated Fourth and Fifth Amendments. ICE has refused to follow existing court orders. And ICE has kept persons in below standard detention centers for extended periods of time where often there's bad food, bad conditions, poor medical care for pregnant women, et cetera. These aren't opinions, these are factual things. How often do they happen? You know, I see head shaking. They have happened, and it's been documented. Our simple, maybe naive position is that, and which we think is morally and legally defensible, is that we simply don't want our police to be on the front end of a process that might lead to that. I truly don't think our concerns are partisan or political. I think that what we're doing is something consistent with constitutional principles and the highest American standards. Of course, following my previously noted observation, I've made this a number of times, that everything seems simple until you begin to look closely at it. In some very recent follow-up discussions, we bumped into some of the complexity of what we wanted to do. So when we come tonight to address the ordinance, I'll have a motion to begin dealing with that complexity by postponing the vote until we work a few things out, which we have plans, active plans to do. As has been stated repeatedly, we want to carry out these actions in a careful and transparent way, gathering all input pro and con, so that what we do makes sense. So that what we do is legal and constitutional. And even if not everybody agrees, to have clarity about what our police should do, what our rules are, et cetera. And of course, that's easier said than done, but we're working on it. Tonight, we will offer for a vote a resolution contained in your packet and widely distributed to the public that states that what we wish. We don't want to assist ICE or any other federal enforcement agency in carrying out any search and extraction procedures. This involves precluding ICE or any federal immigration law enforcement agency from using borough employees, facilities, or even police to take part in staging and extraction procedures. This is not interference. It's just not joining into that effort. It's a matter of separating duties. And in addition, more central to the resolution, we resolved that we do not want federal immigration enforcement agents to be masked, to use disguises, obscure badges, or even use a vehicle that does not contain clear identifying information. Looks like a police state. I mean, in some of those scenes that we've seen. It's kind of, to me, horrifying. Of course, there are exceptions to these requirements having to do with other appropriate police activities, including instances where masks could be necessary for safety, smoke protection, various medical or religious reasons, and other enforcement procedures, drug enforcement, et cetera. So we are parceling those activities out. We're just talking about immigration-related masked men coming in, and we all have seen the scenes. The ordinance that we are considering, originally slated for vote for advertisement tonight, which does have the force of law, unlike the resolution, provides further clarification of local versus federal law enforcement duties and clearly restricts cooperation with ICE activities by, as I said, borough staff using borough buildings, using borough-owned land, and of course, participation of our police in extraction-related procedures. It precludes entering into a 287G agreement, which our police are perfectly happy not entering into, and precludes detention and reporting of persons solely on the basis of an administrative or civil detention request. I should also say that in the ordinance, we're careful to describe various appropriate activities our police can and should be involved in, such as ensuring public safety and traffic and crowd control. The non-reporting and non-detaining provision does not in any way inhibit borough agents from enforcing Pennsylvania criminal statutes or other borough ordinances. And it applies to administrative, not judicial warrants. We are in favor of finding the bad guys. Of course, discussion about implementation has turned up complexities, as everything does. And because of that, we want to deal with some of those complexities in the very near future. And as I said, that when it comes to the time to vote on the ordinance, I'm going to make a motion to table it. And if we have enough votes, that is what we will do. But we're moving forward on dealing with this in the way that I've described. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. You mentioned that with delaying the ordinance, there's a plan that's actively being worked on during that delay. Could you elaborate on what that might be in just more specifics? Like, is it further discussion with specific parties, further debate at the next committee meeting? I'm just curious, like, what is that plan?
At our next meeting, we've invited the mayor and police chief, and they will bring along some of our really bright officers. I've had some interaction with them recently, and I think we could be pleased. But they have a good sense of what it's like to be on the ground. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to do something that creates confusion. There is an argument that's against the ethos to not report. And my counter argument is that this is a special case, and I think we can be a little sophisticated in that regard. But I think there's going to be real value in hearing from the police officers, which Louisa and Kevin did not take part in. So I want them to be part of this discussion. That's what's going on. I'd invite Tim as well. It's during the day. I don't know if he can make it or not. It's going to be Wednesday at 8:15 in the morning. I'll buy you a coffee if you can make it.
It's at your regularly scheduled committee meeting, right?
Yeah.
Right, well, it got moved to Wednesday because of Juneteenth.
Okay.
Next week, yeah.
So when is the next?
It's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
I mean, do you know the date?
It's the 17th,
17th?
8:15. And anyone else certainly is invited to attend. I think this is some bizarre way, kind of an interesting process, and it's the way you get to the best thing is when you can go back and forth. That's why it reminds me of some of the arguments in graduate school, so.
So you're suggesting then that by inviting Tim, that this is going to be an open discussion with the mayor and the police chief, not a behind-the-doors discussion?
Right.
Correct, it's going to be,
And
yeah.
what do you hope to achieve by having that discussion?
One thing is I want you to hear from the officers, and I want, it's process. I want us to, everybody as much as possible to be on the same page. I do have our motives to proceed to protect the community, but there are complications apparently, which I hope they articulate in.
Can you just articulate them tonight?
I can't.
Why?
It it's going to happen at the meeting. It's not fair for him to speak for
But he
someone else.
had a meeting with the mayor and the police chief.
Right.
You have something to say. You're going to
Well,
say at the committee meeting.
There are many aspects. One of them had to do with the sloppiness of those warrants that are sent out, and an argument that many times behind those administrative warrants are more serious criminals.
So I think that it's safe to say that it's better to hear from the people that would like to make the comments rather than us try and, because we didn't take notes. So I don't want to give out any false or misleading or incomplete information when we have the opportunity to hear from them next week. And I would also say that it's still your committee meeting. Any of us that attend as council members that aren't on the committee would be attending as guests, right? So that
So
I guess the bigger issue is that Tom is asking us, he is proposing to table a resolution, and he's asking.
the ordinance, yeah.
Sorry. He's proposing to table the ordinance, the advertisement of the ordinance, based on something, and asking us to vote on that without actually having all the information.
Oh,
Well,
because he's
you-
gained more information than he
You
would
would
like.
get the
everyone-
But we
information.
don't
if you-
have it. That's my
Which is
issue.
why he wants
If you
to
attend,
table
you have to
it.
trust me.
That's
If you
the whole
attend the
point.
meeting on Wednesday, you'll hear.
I'm comfortable hearing from police and mayor on Wednesday.
But we can take that vote later. You can vote against it if you choose to.
I understand what you want, and I can't do as good a job as the police could do. And I wish we had recorded the meeting.
No, we don't wish.
And the other thing is, I'm committed to process. So I want the police to feel part of what's going on and for you guys to be part of that as well. So regardless of the specific details, I think it's beneficial to do this for psychological reasons.
I guess, so are we having a discussion now about this? Because we've met
No.
with the mayor and the police chief twice now, plus they were at the committee meetings twice. And at no point did any of this discussion come up until yesterday, before we have a council meeting, before we decide to vote on advertising.
It's the way it happens. And I understand your frustration, but I'm still committed to process.
I'd like to make a statement. Is that okay?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, this is related to the ordinance, which we might table or not. But, so there was a comment made about the danger of foreign IDs and forgeries. So I would like to make the comment that if anybody would want to forge a document, they would more likely forge an American driver's license because A, it's much easier, and B, it would create much less suspicion. And like a foreign country's passport is a much higher level document than an American driver's license. Like in most countries, a driver's license is not legal ID. And also, like, I'm not sure for what kind of application we would ask for IDs where the danger of a forgery would be like serious. I'm not sure. When we ask for IDs, if it's like a registration for a summer camp, I don't know why anybody would forge their ID for that kind of situation. So that's about the foreign IDs. So I mean, I can tell an anecdote how I was on a student visa. I had legal status. This was in 88, 89. It was up in Massachusetts. We cannot blame Pennsylvania. And this was before credit cards, so I was trying to buy something with a check, and the salesperson was asking for ID, and obviously being a foreigner, being legally in the country, I showed my Czech passport, and the reaction was, "What is this?" And then she went to go and see her supervisor and became like a big deal. So I think we can avoid these kind of situations just by accepting foreign IDs that are issued by a government as proper legal IDs, which they are. End of rant.
And a final note to Kevin, who I wish had been at our meeting. It unfolded in a surprising way. I think it's beneficial in terms of our ongoing relations with the police and the police officers to do this. So for that reason alone, I think it's worth postponing this, since there's not an emergency at this point, and we're not stopping the process. We're just enriching it in some sense.
Tom, I'll be there.
And that concludes my report.
Yes. Right, you did say you were going to be short in your report. I don't think you kept that. Do you think? All right, we'll have to check. Rich, let's see how you do with your report for admin and finance.
All right, my turn. So admin and finance met on May 29th. We reviewed budget performance, and one of the things we discussed was police overtime expenditures, which they're ahead of the budget right now, but we believe now that staffing concerns have been taken care of, we should fall in line. Hampton Township sewer surcharge came up again. Most recent update from them is that their solicitor is going to be reaching out to our solicitor, so if you haven't heard anything yet, stay apprised.
Would you like an update?
If you've got one.
We should be meeting on the 15th at 2.
Excellent, all right, good news. And then we also reviewed our volunteer board and commission vacancies. One of the things that you'll see on the agenda tonight is appointing Brant Underwood for the Sustainability Committee. And we're also looking for someone to fill a vacancy in the Human Relations Commission. So if you or anyone you know might be interested in serving the community, we have an opening in HRC. And then we also want to consider the adoption of the ordinance to amend the police pension plan that we discussed last month. And that's pretty much it. Next admin and finance meeting is Monday, the 22nd at 1 p.m.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question about the police overtime. What is the current shift hour for a police officer? Do they work 8-hour shifts? 12. So 12-hour shifts, and they still have a lot of overtime. Okay, thanks.
Right.
That's what I want to know. Actually, a pretty common way to reduce overtime amount. That's why if they're working 8-hour shifts, then change it to 12-hour. But if they're working 12-hour and they have a lot of overtime, then
Still overtime after 12 hours.
Pardon me?
They still have overtime after 12-hour shifts?
Sometimes. But as I can't remember who mentioned, Rich did. Now that we're at full staffing, we see that demand for covering vacant shifts reducing, so.
Okay, I mean, that's good, but like, I'm just thinking after a 12-hour shift, adding more hours, like, are there any requirements in terms of how much sleep they need to
Yeah,
get?
we don't let them work a double shift. They may work a couple hours over a scheduled 12-hour shift,
Okay,
but
14 hours is still a lot.
it is. But it's a 24/7 situation, and sometimes you just have to suck it up.
I'm just worried that people get tired, people make
Yes.
mistakes.
We're very cognizant of that, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the Borough School District Liaison. Tim, you have anything to tell us?
Yeah, there was no meeting held in the month of May. The next meeting is on September 23rd at 6 p.m. in the District Administration Building.
And I'm just going to keep asking you about that every
And
month.
I'll keep
then
telling you
you'll
the
just
same
keep
thing.
going. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Stormwater Authority, Louisa?
Stormwater Authority met yesterday. So we discussed a lot of projects. some of which are very expensive. So the one project that is underway is the Harvard Avenue parallel pipe, which is projected for the 2027 construction year. Engineering is in progress. They're mapping the existing conditions. And so if everything goes well, they will bid in February, March, and start construction in April. And this project is partially funded by a DCED grant. The next project, which is a big project, but it is urgent and necessary, is the Chestnut Street project. There is a shallow pipe there that was televised and found in disrepair. The pipe is in danger of collapse, and so something needs to be done about it sooner or later. And the pipe needs to be replaced. It needs to be put lower. Now this comes at a price tag of 4.2 million, construction only. HRG has given the authority a proposal for engineering for $712,000 and something dollars. The authority has authorized HRG to proceed with the first 30% of engineering and design while they discuss how they're going to pay for this project. If it goes ahead as scheduled, it will happen in the 2028 construction season. It should be finished in 10 months. And we also discussed how it will affect traffic on Chestnut Street, especially in front of the high school, middle school. And so Mike said that most likely they can keep both lanes open most of the time, but they will have to move the parking during construction. The last project we talked about is a small project. It's the Creek Road drainage improvement up by Seabird. And this comes with a $94,000 engineering proposal price tag and $325,000 construction cost. This has also been authorized to proceed, and HRG will be looking for potential grants to cover construction. Thank you. Any questions?
Can I add one comment? So at the PSAB conference last week, stormwater was one of the big topics there because based on the Westchester University Supreme Court decision, and one of the things that they suggested there to all municipalities, so they're just waiting for the next shoe to drop. So for background context, what happened was Westchester Borough was the municipality organization that levied the fee for their stormwater. The Supreme Court decision, and Lee, you'll forgive my layman's presentation of this, but because Westchester is a taxing authority, the Supreme Court said that it is considered a tax. However, what everyone at PSAB is concerned about is the next shoe that drops is that any fee on a nonprofit or a government institution would be considered a tax. So what they're suggesting, and I know Lee, I read through the minutes and you said, suggested to proceed as normal. However, PSAB, their recommendation is that any fees that you're collecting from nonprofits that you set aside in sort of a rainy day account in case that a lawsuit does come down, and then if you've already spent that money, then you're stuck. So that's my
Lee, do you want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty well covers it. I think that there will be additional litigation because the case did not consider a stormwater fee charged by a municipal authority which has expressed statutory authorization to charge a fee. And it's one of the narrowest decisions I've ever read. The fourth justice that sided on the tax actually specifically says she's not going to weigh in on stormwater fees charged in other instances under different facts. So we are actually working with the alphabet soup groups on that next case. So we're kind of talking with folks about who might be that plaintiff.
Not us.
Okay, any further questions for stormwater?
So the first project, is that I know I always mess up, like which one's was it the Braemar or is that a different?
This is very much downstream of Braemar,
Okay.
but it would then enable the Stormwater Authority to do projects that would benefit Braemar, because we have to
Okay, cool.
increase capacity downstream before we increase capacity upstream.
Makes sense. Yeah, awesome. And then, do we know which part of Chestnut Street would be affected by?
Yes, it is from 30th Street to, I believe, 24th, is that correct?
Yeah, it's essentially 30th Street to the high school, and then down along the western side of the high school property to Yale and Deanhurst.
Okay,
And up on 30th Street.
And up 30th to Market,
to
so it's kind of a
Market.
big zigzag.
lovely.
Yeah, so right in front of the high school.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Well, it's better than a pipe collapsing right in front of the high school.
Absolutely, right. Let's hope the repair happens first.
That's
They
that's
were
the
my
goal.
only questions,
That's the goal,
right.
to do it before it collapses.
From my public work days, I remember Lester talking about the pipes not being planted deeply enough.
Yes.
Is that going to be corrected?
Yes, we're trying to put them lower.
It is, yeah, that's one of the reasons that we have to go down along the high school property is we have to chase it downstream far enough till we can tie into a pipe that's low enough that then we can lay the new pipe at a steady grade uphill from there and get it lower. So, yeah, it will be. One of the things we'll have to work at in design is the material of the pipe. Some pipes are more rigid than others and can be laid at a shallower grade, but those pipes tend to be more expensive. So it's all kind of a balancing act that we'll have to figure out as we really get into design.
Thank you, and thanks, Louisa.
Yeah, so I should add that we are probably looking at loans, fee increases, combination of the above. Stay tuned, because we have to pay for this somehow.
Well, speaking of schools and school property, moving right on to Alex. Alex, what can you tell us?
Camp Hill's graduation was held May 31st, with Samuel Stahl being named our valedictorian and Zeke Neal our salutatorian. The mural in the underpass is complete, and I know firsthand that took a lot of work, so if you're over there, go stop by. Summer Stage Session 1 starts rehearsal next week. I think there are still open signups for that. The last day of school was June 2nd, and the first day of school for the 2026-2027 school year will be August 25th.
I'm sorry, August?
25th. Yeah.
Any questions for Alex? Thanks.
Alex, how long are you going to attend council?
It's a year-long term, so somewhere in September, October, I think, is my last one.
We all have to go down and see the mural.
I've seen it.
Have you? Am I the only one who hasn't?
Is that it? Is there going to be more?
So the current plan right now is to take all of the sports teams and then get them all together, and then every team will do a section of the underpass to kind of build a big walk from Seabert and back. So yeah, it's a lot of coordination right now, but we're gonna start with the soccer teams hopefully this summer. So we're gonna try to do, like where the current mural is right now, we're gonna try to do one exactly mirroring it of the soccer teams are gonna do that one, and then just kind of work our way through all the different teams, hopefully completing the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, sustainability. Tom?
Okay, the Sustainability Committee met May 14th. We continue to discuss the usefulness of hiring a sustainability coordinator. And following numerous discussions we've had with sustainability coordinators in Harrisburg, Easton, Doylestown, Reading, and so on. We've begun collecting, and I think Sarah's putting together these job descriptions that we'll begin to look at. But as a committee, we're also looking at ways a sustainability coordinator could save the borough and its residents money, supplement other overtaxed staff, and maybe even pay for itself via grants in addition to the savings that I mentioned. All of this is in a planning stage right now. We're hoping to be able to make a case for this maybe in 2027, which is coming pretty quickly. We'll see. But we have some work to do. But again, a part or a full-time person could add something of great value to the community. And as I said, not to overblow this, save money, certainly help residents evaluate solar, et cetera. So that's ongoing. We then briefly discussed the status of the Community Choice Aggregation Program and have begun talking to local legislators. We met with Patty Kim, Nate Davidson, who is very supportive of the idea of legislating a CCA program. And very soon we'll talk to Greg Rothman. And the point here is to gather support and see if the legislature, the House and the Senate could come together and propose something that only helps people, doesn't hurt anybody. It might upset the energy providers in terms of they lose some control. But otherwise, it looks like a good deal, and that's the response, strong response we got from Nate Davidson. There are other brief discussions about biking and pedestrian accessibility, plans for the borough to make EV chargers more available. We talked about the sustainability or sustainable PA program, the DEP Shared Energy Manager Program, as well as possible future goals for upgrading street lighting, helping households relamp, and actions to continue community education and outreach. We're looking forward if the council votes in favor of a new committee member, Brant Underwood, and we're having our next meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Any questions for Tom?
Not a question, two comments. The first one.
Why can't we hire him right away, or what?
No.
Sorry.
No. So at our last council meeting, we voted on and approved the resolution for the community choice aggregation to go to PSAB for them to vote on. And I will be happy to report that we did vote on it and it was approved. And effectively what this means is that PSAB will be an advocate if legislation does come up.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, and along with that, Representative Davidson is on the Energy Committee in the House, so it would be good to, even if he wrote the bill himself, or it would be good to have him. Second comment on the EV charging, the NEVI program is now open up to municipalities, so is there any thought of us going after funding from NEVI to install an
I'll
EV
bring
charging
that up
station?
at our next meeting. Thank you.
Tom,
Yes.
I do believe that a sustainability coordinator would be useful, but I think claiming that they will pay for themselves is probably wishful thinking.
We do a little wishful thinking.
Well, no, we need
Just
to
let 'em
find
be,
the
let 'em
money.
be.
We need to find the money, and we're gonna need money for a new recreation director, so.
So there's a battle.
There
Are grants
battle.
out there, and we have talked to the other sustainability coordinators about how they do bring in money through grants that help pay for their salaries. So it's all a matter of what do we get on paper? What looks
Yeah,
reasonable?
I just want the finances to be solid for that.
Understand. But again, there's a lot that somebody could do to help Sarah and maybe even Lester. So I think the right person could be valuable.
We're just going to have, let's see this job description. But we will have these discussions during budget time,
Exactly
which are all public. So if you would like to hear us continue along in this manner, come to our budget meetings.
And wishful thinking gets nothing.
It's not-
It
it's not
it has to
like
be, it
that.
has to make sense, so I agree with you, understand.
Do we have anywhere a list of EV chargers in town? Like, does sustainability have a list of public? Are they on our
There can only be
website?
4 microphones on at a time.
Oh, sorry.
It's a very short list.
Because I noticed one behind your,
I think there's 2. 2 sites in the borough.
yeah. I just wondered if like we put them anywhere on our webpage because we're so pro. All right, we will move right along.
I have a comment to
Oh,
Tom's.
I'm sorry, I thought you said you too.
Since
Go ahead, Kevin.
Tom brought it up about hiring a person.
Didn't I stop that discussion saying that we'll discuss it at budget time?
Yeah, I want to arm wrestle about having a Main Street program coordinator.
We arm wrestle, it's kind of fun.
I'm gonna just. All right. Tim.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the conversation continues to be about elevating the brand of the Downtown Camp Hill Association, and that comes by way of the folks who volunteer their time, the things that you see, meaning the part of the conversation was around merchandise and sort of bringing awareness for people who are not quite aware. I mean, for example, DCHA, I'll use the acronym here, but it's a holds us a different special meaning now since we're council. However, DCHA as an entity is a 501c3, which gives them the ability to do some things that the borough may or may not be able to do. We can support, which we are talking about. Kevin mentioned a little earlier about LERTA. That continues to be a topic shared with DCHA. And as the liaison, I'm bringing back and forth some of those ideas that we continue to discuss and through the work that they provide, even the MOU. There are some shared responsibilities. So I just wanted to say that because, there's the activities that people see, like plein air that's coming up. That's the glitz and glamour, but there's a lot of hard work being done. And as part of that branding effort, it's really to allow people more information about what they can do and the impact that they've had. Associations like them across the country can do different things. So that was part of it. The other piece was just what was called a relaunch of more of the awareness. So they discussed a kickoff for 2026, 2027 to bring people more of this information so they understand what DCHE is, and certainly the visibility of the people who volunteer can ask questions. There's discussion about how to position the association so that as more Camp Hill folks become aware of DCHA, they can perhaps become involved by some of the things that they see, and folks will be trained on how to answer those questions correctly. That's my report.
It's a good one. And it's true. We get used to looking at the events that they put on and don't always see everything that they do behind the scenes and how we can be a part of that as residents. Did anyone have any questions or comments for Tim? All right, next is Frederickson Library.
Oh, excellent. I bring tidings of good news. The Summer Reading Challenge is officially underway. It kicked off on June 1st and will run through August 15th. Families can sign up to track their reading minutes, explore trails at our beautiful local parks, earn prizes, and participate in a variety of family-friendly library events throughout the summer. Individuals who register from now until June 15th, so you have 5 days left, you can be entered to win some really fabulous prizes, including Hershey Park tickets, an iPad, and very best of all, drum roll please, thank you, pool passes to our incredible pool. So 5 more days, people. Adults can sign up for this too, so you all can be included and get your reading in. Library Summer Concert Series has also kicked off as a part of all of their fabulous summer programming. So June 11th, Colebrook Road will be playing. June 22nd, the West Shore Symphony, and August 6th will be Shea Quinn. This will be both the concert as well as like food trucks, family activities. It's a great time. There is more information available on the Frederickson website. Finally, the library continues its fundraising efforts to address critical infrastructure projects. There is information on how you can donate funds on the library website, and don't worry, you have 27 days left to get your blueberries. The last day of sale is July 7th. And that is my report.
Any questions? Okay, I do have one. I feel like I have a question for, what is it like, I'm thinking the theme has something to do with dinosaurs, or what's the theme?
Unearth the story. That is the theme. And it is dinosaur related,
Yay.
which my 3-year-old is thrilled.
Right? Well, how do you not love dinosaurs?
Right?
And I have a quick question. Where did the blueberries come from?
What? New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Hammond, New Jersey?
Okay.
Hamilton?
Okay.
All right. Wait, is it my turn? Are we on me? Are we on me with CAPCOG? So we did meet. This is like how many months in a row we've met. On May 18th, I'll only give you the Kelly Niederer, Cumberland County Commissioner, blah, blah, blah. First of all, she thanked all the municipalities for holding the elections, the primaries. So, but CAPCOG is asking for support for SB 194, which would permit municipalities to advertise on either their own website or the county website, rather than going and paying for an advertisement on a, what is it, a newspaper of general circulation that are harder and harder to, yeah. So if anybody wants to contact legislators, it's SB 194. Also, a huge topic is always the data centers, and they had a data center information session. It's on their county website if you'd like more information about that. And that's my report for them. We meet again in July. I know you guys are all holding your breath to see what I come up with next. But now, we have reached the second period of public comment. If you would like to make a comment, please come up to the podium, state your name and your address, and again, please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Heather Eister, and I live on Chestnut Street, Vice President of DCHA. And I didn't plan on making a comment, but I do want to make a comment that if we're thinking about a full-time sustainability coordinator and saving money, that we should also, or even before that, look into a full-time downtown coordinator and or executive director, because I think they would save even more money than a sustainability coordinator, because it would help with economic development in the downtown, increase tax base with having more businesses in the downtown, also increasing our life here, having more restaurants or whatever it is that we can encourage to bring in the downtown, and just make it a place where we're gathering more, which again increases everyone's value of life. So I encourage you, when you're looking at that full-time sustainability coordinator, that please also look at a full-time downtown coordinator. Thanks.
Liz Riley, 117 South 17th Street. Since Audrey's retirement has been brought up, I know we need pipes that don't collapse. And I know we need to consider ways to keep our community safe through the police and the ordinances and resolutions we have. But Audrey has made Camp Hill what Camp Hill really is. And I can't thank you enough. I forget how many years, but I've been here for all of them. And you really are the spark. And so I'm encouraging Borough Council to do whatever you need to do, either to convince Audrey to stay or to hire 5 people to replace her. Thank you.
David Margolis. As far as I know, I still live at 1714 Lincoln Drive. I support tabling of the proposed ordinance regarding federal immigration enforcement. I think the committee meeting next week should be a good opportunity to focus on any remaining concerns about implementation. I see the proposed ordinance as not only protecting the Bureau from liability, but also protecting Camp Hill Police from unknowingly contributing to unconstitutional, unlawful, and inhumane actions by ICE that have been well documented. In a recent poll, 2/3 of Americans agreed with the statement that ICE had gone too far. To provide one example from a study completed last month, this is the way it read: in the past 15 months, there have been about 12,000 lawsuits claiming wrongful detention and deportation by ICE. In 90% of these cases, judges appointed by presidents from both Democratic and Republican parties have ruled against ICE. In some cases, the federal government did not even offer a defense of ICE. Thank you.
Charlie Sowell, 915 Country Club Road. I find it interesting, the comments about the unconstitutionality of ICE. And I would just encourage people to look at any police force, any federal law enforcement organization like the FBI or ATF and Waco and all kinds of other organizations that have had challenges in the past. But what I'm hearing tonight, and I've heard it before, is the demonization and the labeling of a federal law enforcement organization as an unconstitutional entity, as something that should be feared, as something that should be vilified. And I'm going to emphatically object to that type of characterization. I'm in a fairly unique position. I happen to know the ICE director, David Venturella, personally. I happen to know a lot of the people, the men and women in ICE, that work their tails off every day in legal and professional ways. And I do acknowledge that there are incidences where agents go too far or agents conduct actions that are overturned. But I just would ask for the respect of the council for a federal organization and not label it and demonize it. On a happier note, this is the last council meeting before America's 250th birthday. I didn't hear anything tonight about celebrating America's 250th birthday. And I understand oversights happen, but please consider some type of resolution or some type of recognition so that when our children look back in the history books, they see that Camp Hill was proud of America's 250th birthday. Related to the foreign IDs, my point isn't related to passports specifically. It's foreign identity documents, which could frankly be anything. You're asking for borough agents to determine what's a valid foreign identity document, and so what's a Zimbabwean document versus an Indonesian identity document, and that's the issue, is how do people really determine what those documents are, which ones are legit. And then lastly, Kevin, to your point about the bird strikes, in a lighthearted way, outdoor free-ranging cats and domestic cats are the largest source of human-caused bird deaths. So I'll get my stickers up, but I also want cats taken care of. So thank y'all.
Allie Samsel, 3027 Chestnut Street. This is my first meeting with you as council, and differing opinions do not mean you're being disrespectful. It's only disrespectful if you take it that way. So I think you guys have done a really good job tonight. You have a little problem with this thing you're trying to get past. You're gonna talk about it some more. That's what we want you to do. I'm really happy with the new council, so good for you.
Right? No, thank you. And really, if you have more to say, come on up. Not tonight? All right, all right, all right. Do we? All right, we'll give you one more chance to get your comment. Okay, but really, thank you for your comments, and we do really want to hear them. But now it's time to move on to our action items. Am I too far away? Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to our action items. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the application for payment number 1 for the 2025-26 ADA curb ramp project in the amount of $28,476.52 payable to H&P Construction Incorporated?
So moved.
Okay, I have Louisa moves, Tia seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to approve supplement number 1 to eliminate the bid phase services for the 2026 curb ramp project and reduce HRG's estimated fee by $13,600?
So moved.
All right. So Louisa moves and Kevin seconds. Are there any discussion? Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? Okay, so that motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the proposal from HRG in the amount of $61,750 for the Cumberland Boulevard Pedestrian Connection Project?
So moved.
Thank you. Louisa moves, Tom seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes as well. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the proposal from HRG in the amount of $129,000 for the Lenox Street Walkway project?
So moved.
Was that you, Kevin?
Tim.
Tim? That's why it sounded so far away. Louisa moves, Tim seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes as well. Do I have a motion and a second to renew the memorandum of understanding with the Downtown Camp Hill Association? All right, I didn't hear that far away. Kevin moves. Tia second. Tia. Okay, is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to approve a stormwater operations and maintenance agreement for the property at 304 South 22nd Street?
So moved.
Tom moves, Kevin seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to approve a stormwater operations and maintenance agreement for the property at 2315 Page Street.
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Tom moves, Kevin seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to advertise an ordinance to establish an on-lot sewage system maintenance program for properties in the borough?
So moved.
Thanks. Tom moves, Louisa seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. This is where it gets fun. Do I have a motion relating to the ordinance providing guidance to borough employees and police officers regarding interactions with members of the public that the Planning and Zoning Committee has presented for our consideration?
The committee proposed to advertise that ordinance. There's not a number for it until they adopt it.
I'm going to move to table this vote.
Are you on?
I'm going to move to table the vote on this ordinance for further discussion, which we'll return to, I'm sure, in the future. But I move that we table it tonight.
Is there a second to Tom's action?
I'll second.
Thanks, Rich. Okay, so do we have there's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Did you say yes? You're opposed?
Yes, I'm opposed.
Okay, then Sarah, can you do a roll call? Thanks.
Thomas Fink,
In favor.
Michelle Forbes,
I vote aye.
Rich Forsman. Tim Jackson. Louis Silasova. Kevin Mock. Tia Wolf. And Alex doesn't get a vote.
Okay, so the ayes have it and the motion carries. Thank you, Sarah. Do I have a motion relating to the adoption of a resolution to clarify the borough's position regarding the enforcement of non-criminal federal immigration laws? Sorry about
So moved.
Second. All right, so Tom moves. Who said the second?
Both of us at the same time.
You want the second? Okay. Okay.
Discussion?
Is there a discussion? Do we, any discussion?
They're voting to adopt, they're not voting to table.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
I
for,
know.
yeah. This is the
This
resolution.
is for the resolution. Okay.
Right, it's just to be adopted.
Is there a discussion? And all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, see, we got through that. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the request from Aaron Lenz to plant a tree in Seabrook Park in honor, oh my goodness, of the Boys and Girls head tennis coach, Greg Herb?
So moved.
Tia moves, Rich seconds. Is there any discussion? So I want to ask Tia, and I don't know if you know, he's not retiring, is he? This is just because of the celebration of the...
Celebration of the win. I'm not aware of any retirement.
okay.
If there is
We
one,
can't handle a whole lot more, that's all I'm saying. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the request from Gregory Coons to plant a tree in Willow Park in honor of his mother, Barbara Coons?
So moved. Happy birthday, Barbara.
Right? Tia moves, Rich seconds. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Do I have a motion and a second to approve the request from the Lion Foundation to host the Trick or Trot 5K and the Monster Dash 1 Mile Fun Run on October 31st? Is there any discussion? Who moved? Who moved? Rich moved, Tia seconds.
Seconds, Louisa has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Louisa.
So, Tia, I understand they didn't submit their forms yet.
Correct. They have not submitted forms yet. They will be submitting forms.
So we are just approving the date.
Yes, we are approving the date and that in like the current form of the event, which currently they're not planning to block off any streets, therefore it would not require a special events permit. As it stands now, yes. If they decide in the planning process that there's other considerations they might want, like potentially blocking off streets, they would need to then submit a special
Last year,
request
they
form.
had all sorts of requirements.
Which, yeah, so any additional requirements from here on out, we have let them know they need to bring those to the appropriate committees. So if there are public works related needs, they need to submit the form, it would be brought there. Or if there are other borough resources they're looking for, it would need to go to the appropriate committee.
So can we amend the motion? Can I ask you to amend the motion that, Rich's motion? Can I ask you to amend the motion to, right, putting this all on you? To approve the request from the Lion Foundation, but stipulating that they submit a special event application and their fee.
Yeah, yeah, I'll move that we do
How
that.
do we write this down?
No, but Tia, you were saying they might not need a special event application?
My understanding is if they're not blocking off streets, that's the conditional for needing the special event
Sarah,
permit.
can you clarify?
I'm turning it on.
So you can make the motion that they need to, or that the activity is approved on that date, conditional upon the completion of the required paperwork if necessary, is how I would suggest wording the motion,
All right.
if I could.
So, yeah, I move that we approve this based on them meeting any required conditions.
Paperwork.
Right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone opposed? All right, and thank you. Okay, do I have a motion and a second to approve the request from the Lion Foundation to place signs for the cornhole tournament in borough parks? Who moved? Tim moved. Did Tia second? Did you second? Thank you. Okay, Tim moves, Tia seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the Camp Hill Soccer Club's request to host a World Cup watch party at Fiala Field on June 12th at 9 p.m.? Kevin moves, Louisa seconds. Is there any discussion?
Looking forward to it.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we're getting there. That motion carries. Do I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 2026-4 to amend the police pension plan? Kevin moves, Rich seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. And lastly, do I have a motion and a second to appoint Brant Underwood to the Sustainability Committee?
So moved.
All right, Tom moves, Tia seconds. And is there any discussion about this? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. So now we have reached our final period of public comment. If you would like to comment, come on up, state your name, your address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay, guys, this is Sherry Bowman, 498 North 25th Street. First and foremost, hardest working group of people I've ever seen in borough government, okay? So I just want to compliment you. I'm not a brown noser. But secondly, something came to my mind as I'm sitting here because I noticed about like the continuation of working on the sidewalks out on Cumberland Boulevard. So, for those of you who don't realize, this is These are steps that have started over 10 years ago. So I just was looking up some reports that a group did in June of 2017 to recommend to council at that time things that they should be doing out on the boulevard. So it's just a little bit of history and throwback. Yes, and there's some people up here that were part of it too. So we had this Cumberland Boulevard Improvement Task Force that came out of the fact that one of our neighbors was run over walking her dogs across the Cumberland Boulevard around Christmas time in 2016. So then we formed this task force. It had 100 residents involved in this thing. And it was talking about the safety and congestion on the Cumberland Boulevard. We identified 4 projects out of the suggestions that we received from the community. Number 1, continue to encourage the enforcement of the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. I just want to say thank you because I do see us doing special efforts with the state police to make that happen, so thank you. Number 2, improve the sidewalk running from the Siebert Park Tunnel to Eisenhower School. And it's addressed in this presentation. Check, awesome, that's done. That's an amazing little segment of sidewalk that's super safe. Number 3, path from Marion to the 27th Street Tunnel, meaning a sidewalk going the whole way from Marion to the tunnel where people can walk safely along the bypass. Gosh, we're getting so close. So I'm just so thrilled to see that. I just wanted to note that we should be celebrating. These things take a long time. And number 4, and maybe when they go to repave the boulevard, we can implement some traffic calming elements to reduce the speeds on the roadway and improve the overall safety. The reason why that one is harder to get to is because it would take some work on behalf of PennDOT. But we should look for that opportunity because the problem right now with enforcing the reason why people are speeding out there is because it looks like a highway. So when we get that opportunity, and I want to put a tickler in your brain, when you guys see that come up as an opportunity, we should be out there trying to make that roadway look like it's 35 miles an hour. So just kudos. I just want to say thank you. And these projects take a long time. So thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Just checking. Anyone else? Okay, then we will end with closing remarks by council. Tonight, we'll start with Alex.
Not a whole heck of a lot other than go look at the mural because we're very proud of it and we're excited to keep going. So.
Yeah, the irony of the ICE discussion is not lost on me when I asked Tom to expedite things, and I do appreciate you taking another look at this and having additional conversation. I think I'm in a little bit of a different position in the fact that, I've worked with the police department for a number of years and then chairing in my 3rd year of public safety. So I sit in a little bit of a different seat because I hear things and experience things in a different way. And so I do appreciate you getting more entrenched in that. And I encourage anybody from council to also come to that meeting to have that conversation as well. Thanks.
Audrey. How will we ever replace Audrey? I do not know, but if you know anyone or any 5 people or any army of humans that could potentially be interested in that role, that would really be appreciated by the person who chairs the Parks and Rec Committee and is also on admin and finance. Yeah. All roads lead back here. But thank you, Audrey, for everything that you do and will continue to do. We are so forever grateful. And while I appreciate tabling this to be able to have some further conversations with the police department, I just want to thank council for continuing these conversations and not letting this fall to the wayside. I think it's incredibly important work.
If I could just jump in for a second, we are going to have time to celebrate Audrey, so don't feel like this is your last chance to say nice things about Audrey. We will have other opportunities for you. Are we going to start crying now? We're not crying. There's no crying in recreation.
So I've had 2 kids go through the summer camp program. I have one that there. This is her last year, and it seems like my kids have been in summer camp forever. And yeah, thanks, Audrey. So last week, as Sarah mentioned, both of us went to the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs conference, the annual conference. And there are 2 big topics, the overarching topics at this conference. The first was housing. The second was data centers. So data centers first. So we see data centers coming into our community. They're planned all around us. Right now, they're out in the townships. They're planned for these massive warehouse-type facilities. The concern is that in a couple years, they'll be much smaller, much more efficient, and they could be in our community. So what PSAB is telling all of the municipalities is start planning now and get an ordinance enacted now. Don't wait, because they will be coming.
We already started.
And Planning and Zoning Committee has already started. We're looking at it. So for the community at large, we are looking at this issue. Secondly, housing. So this is a governor's initiative to increase the housing stock in Pennsylvania. And he's tasked the legislature to come up with various mechanisms for doing so. And there's probably a half a dozen different bills pending, making their way through the process. The governor is making it part of his initiative to put it as part of his budget this year. So we will see. But there's a couple of things that struck me. One of the pieces of legislation, it's House Bill 2186, would basically allow accessory dwelling units by right in any zoning district, which will be interesting to see how that plays out. And the other one is to allow short-term residential units to be more or less enacted at the county level instead of at the municipal level, if I'm understanding that correctly. So that'll be another interesting one to see how that. I think ultimately none of this really helps us with our housing issue, and it just sort of pokes around the edges, and that's my hot take. And that's really it for tonight. Thanks.
Okay, I just want to say I'm very happy with the civil discussion we are having about the ICE ordinance, and I want to thank everyone that came today and gave public comment, whether I agreed with them or not. I appreciate it, and I also wanted to thank Audrey for everything she's ever done. She was the first borough staff member I met when I moved here. Of course, my son was in summer camp. And yeah, we will miss you. And we will need 5 people to replace you.
Well, I also want to thank everyone, and I talked about fun, but it's serious fun. And I even enjoy Kevin when he gives me a hard time. But he makes some very good points, so so it creates a good dialectic, whatever you want to call it. And I also want to then repeat what a collection of officers Steve has collected. These are bright guys, motivated, very aware of constitutional principles, et cetera. Verbal, it's kind of exciting to know that we have them on our police force dedicated to Campbell. And if people get a chance to meet them, I strongly would encourage that. But we're in pretty good hands.
Yeah, but not in the ordinance, not like committing a
But not being stopped for a DUI or whatever. And I've never driven more slowly than since I've been on council, by the way.
That's true. Did he say guys, but maybe, did you mean guys in the generic sense?
Generic, folks. Folks, right, folks.
Men and women.
Men and women, right. It's generic.
Okay, just checking. So I really don't have any comments. But then since everyone has made comments, I'm not commenting about you yet. I'm not ready. But I would like to say, it really has been awesome working with everyone and trying to accomplish things and having us all be different. Pardon me? Does it sound like it? Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. But it was really awesome. Like, it's just really awesome having the people come in and keeping us posted on what they think and how they feel and what they see because, right, this is what it's all about. So thank you all for coming. Thank you for everyone always being involved. And that's nice. Rich. Oh, yeah, did the game start? We
Yeah.
gotta go, we gotta go.
We're running over time, so I'll just keep it short, but I don't want to pile too much onto the Audrey love, but you're definitely leaving some pretty big shoes to fill here. And it is great seeing so many people showing up. I showed up to these council meetings for the better part of a year before I decided to run for council, and a lot of times I was one of the only people in the audience with like one other. And so, yeah, I mean, even if it's a contentious discussion, at least you guys are being interested in and taking part in your community. I think that's a great sign.
All right, then I guess we can adjourn, yes? What time is it? 9 PM. Do I need to say anything before we adjourn? Oh, meeting adjourned. I know, but like at the Capcom, we have to take a vote to adjourn, and then I